'Twas Christmas Eve, and the mother sat close by the fireside there. She was youthful, but still her beautiful face was marked with lines of care. "I never knew," she whispered low, "that a Christmas could be so dark." And she sobbingly pressed a little brown shoe close to her aching heart. As she rocked to and fro, still thinking of that beautiful Christmas before, suddenly out of the stillness came a timid knock at the door. And there stood a ragged urchin, tired and pale and thin. "I'm tired of looking for Mama. Say, couldn't you let me in? I've been alone since the morning. I don't know what it's about. They say my Mama's in heaven, and someday I'll see her, no doubt." I sat a while on the doorstep. I thought maybe they'd come back for me. But I got so tired and lonesome and hungry and cold as could be. Then that man with the big gold buttons told me to move along. But he smiled after I told him I hadn't done anything wrong. Then he showed me the way to your doorstep and said if I'd be real polite, that perhaps you would give me some supper and a place to sleep for tonight. She looked at him with compassion and thought of her own little Jim. "Somebody's darling," she whispered, and willingly let him in. And after he'd had his supper, she tucked him away to bed and thought of the blessed Christ child who had no place for his head. When Daddy came home, she smiled. It was the first that he'd seen in weeks. "Shh, he mustn't awaken. See, he is fast asleep." And her eyes grew bright as she whispered, "I couldn't turn him away. He was so little and lonely, and tomorrow is Christmas Day." And when I thought of the Christ child who had no place for his head, somehow I had to place him in our own little Jimmy's bed. So Mama hung up a stocking, and Daddy went out for a tree, and all was placed where on waking the dear little stranger could see. But the mother that night in her dreaming had a beautiful vision fair of 3 little children waiting for her on the golden stair. On coming near, she knew them. One was her own little Jim. The other one was the stranger that she'd just taken in. But the third one spoke. 'Twas the Christ child, the most radiant one of the 3. When you opened your door to the stranger, you did it for Jimmy and me.